fans, and welcome to the one and only Rockwardness podcast, where we interview songwriters about their musical beginnings as far back as possible, and they play us one of the first songs they ever wrote. We talk about what kept them going, what they're doing now, and what they're doing next. I'm your host, Rose Sean. I'm coming to you from my friend's living room in Portland, while my co-host,
Terence Leclerc,
and
Tony Tancredi
are somewhere in the world. We're all having fun. So I'm on my own to get this done, and heaven help us. I'm very pleased to introduce today's guest. He's the founder and singer of popular Christian rock band Pax217. He toured the country relentlessly for 10 years, and now he's a life coach in addition to making music. I'm talking about Mr. Dave Tosti. He and Tony go way back, Orange County obviously, and he is just such a good soul and a great hang. We had a nice time chatting about childhood piano recital mishaps, roadie-ing for his dad's wedding band, and why he does not love Christmas music. You will definitely want to hang out for the story of how their debut record release didn't go exactly according to plan. So sit back and relax and enjoy our chat with Dave Tosti of Pax217. Unless you're driving, and then maybe don't relax so much.
I was going to say it was that party where you make that sandwich. What's that sandwich called again?
Oh, the Raging Cajun.
God bless. That's what I need. Why don't we have Raging Cajuns right now? Just
What doesn't Tony do?
Oh my gosh.
So that they had this like Cajun turkey, and then like I found this like Raging Cajun sauce or something like that, and I was like really broke, and it was $1 each, so I just bought a bunch of it. And we had this party, and Dave came, and I was just cooking these up in the kitchen, and he came back like 6 times. He's like,
"That's so nice.
Like, can I get it? Like
It must have been good.
Yeah, like 6
were
pounds
amazing.
fatter for sure.
Oh,
They
man.
were amazing.
So wait, can you? Do you want to distill the recipe and the ingredients right now? Or you wanna
honestly,
share
they
this
don't
with the
make it
listeners?
anymore. I wish I could have made them for you today, but I can't find that Raging Cajun sauce or the Cajun turkey that they used to make.
All right, take us through the recipe.
Why
It
are
was
people
just
so
that,
mean?
and then Hawaiian, those little Hawaiian rolls.
Oh,
it's-
man. Oh, the
yeah.
Hawaiian
with the
rolls.
turkey and the sauce. That's all it was. And it was just this little bomb bite.
That does sound
Yeah.
incredible.
It's like a wannabe Cubano or something.
Yeah, but
It's
like
like-
spicier.
And spicier, and it was magic.
It was.
Did
And
you
it's-
griddle them?
And it may be extra magic after a couple beverages.
Yeah. I think that was mostly
That's
what it was.
mostly what it
Everyone was.
That's for sure why it came back several times.
I mean, I ate 1,000 of those too, so I feel you. Yeah.
That actually does kind of sound like the perfect drunk snack.
They were bite-sized, and everyone
Yeah.
at the parties
Oh.
just like coming in the
Yeah, 'cause
kitchen
they're
like,
like-
where's the food? You know,
They're like
and it's here you go.
sliders.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
welcome, Dave,
Welcome,
to
Dave
Rockwardness.
Dave.
Tosti.
Let's talk about where you
Hello.
started.
Let's do this.
We just ate lunch, and now I'm hungry again.
Thanks, Dave.
Tell me about it. I'm 6 days into a water fast.
Oh,
I'm so hungry. I was driving here like, this is crazy.
Wow, that's
6 days?
wild.
Yeah.
How?
So tomorrow's your last
It's like
day.
no bragging rights. I'm not trying to
Are
like.
you
how
hallucinating,
is that
or-
even possible? I couldn't even go a day, I don't think.
Yeah, you could. For sure you could. Yeah, I don't know. I just like hit a wall where I just wasn't feeling good, and I haven't been eating. I generally eat pretty great, but the last like month or so, I think, yeah, I just got off the Richter on some food. You know,
Yeah.
just like not eating stuff. I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like I ate candy bars. You know?
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you?
We don't need that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I just felt like I needed to clean out. And it's a good, my gosh, what a reminder of how often I actually think about when I'm going to eat and what I'm going to eat and all that. Just that energy
Yeah.
is crazy. It's like, oh my gosh, I think I've thought about food 10 times today, you know? Or
Yeah.
I'll start to walk into the kitchen, like that auto program of like,
Yep.
I work from home, you know?
Yeah.
So anyways, it's been good to just like reset.
Yeah.
Feels good.
So it's
Yeah.
water with anything, or just
No, well, I've had like maybe 3 ounces, 4 ounces of black coffee in the morning. Because that coming off coffee too, I drink coffee, and I don't drink a lot. I drink like basically 1 cup a day.
Yeah,
in
but
the
it's
morning.
addictive.
That's like headaches.
But
It's physically
your
addictive.
body's tripping, so I'm like, all right, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna like ease through that a little bit, and then the only other thing that I've found that doesn't affect your body kicking into autophagy, etc., is this. Shout out to my sponsor right now,
Yeah.
Shaka Tea Hawaii, which is
Yeah.
incredible. This stuff's incredible. It's so good, and
It
it's just a
looks good.
tea, and it has no calories, and it's made with monk fruit, so you can
Perfect.
your body. So
Oh,
it's like
wow,
the
tea
little
and monk fruit.
It's like the little treat, you know?
Right, so
Yeah,
you don't
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like you're completely
Yeah.
deprived of all
I'm like,
joy in life.
I still got a reward, you know?
Yeah.
Other than the benefits I'm getting, but
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the delayed gratification reward. It's different. Yeah.
Is there any kind of like cayenne pepper or like
yeah,
lemon
I've done like
juice?
the master's cleanse, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
lemon, cayenne pepper,
Yeah.
grade B maple syrup, a bunch over my life. but it's hard to find grade B maple syrup anymore.
Oh, really?
It's like pure and stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
You're saying grade B?
Grade B.
It's
Yeah.
less processed,
Yeah,
right?
it's less
Yeah.
processed. It has more minerals and it's darker. Typically, there's a
okay.
lighter one too, but they don't really make it anymore. So,
If you can't find it in Southern California, it probably just doesn't
right,
exist.
Doesn't exist.
right.
Yeah.
So I've just been doing like lemon and cayenne.
That's
And
great.
it's great. Too.
Ugh, that's
feeling
I'm
good?
really
Like-
impressed. I'm
Yeah.
really impressed with your
Nice.
willpower.
Thanks. It's interesting for me. It's like I'm just in being with the feeling of hunger and emptiness, you know, and just kind of like sitting with that and being like, oh, there's hunger. Okay. And I met this doctor years ago at this workshop retreat thing I was at, and he works with obese people. And he told me, he said, one of the number one things I tell people to do consistently to help reprogram their subconscious is to consistently say, I'm full. I'm so full right now. I'm full. And so I've just been practicing that too. Like, so full right now, you know, even after talking about the Raging Cajun.
That's funny. It's like the idea of food, you know, like you can convince the mind. It's like, I just ate.
Yeah.
And the mind's like, what? It's like, no, I did. And the mind's like, oh, okay.
Well, I think also the reality that like you aren't starving and there is food available. You're not in danger.
Yeah.
You're not in
Exactly.
danger.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that stuff is really powerful because, like you said, you know, we are programmed. Like you'll just zombie program walk into the kitchen because it's 12 p.m. or whatever.
Yeah.
This is a nice segue because were you always inclined to this kind of like, it's almost like a physical mastery, you know, like did that begin for you at a certain age, or we're going to sort of like ease into like going back in time?
Oh, cool. Yeah.
To like
awesome
music and stuff.
Definitely not. I definitely grew up with a family who bought like Kudos. You guys remember? Shouts
Oh, yeah.
to Kudos.
I
Yeah.
Kudos, the
know.
granola
I used to
bars, right?
Mow those
Kudos.
things
Yeah.
down.
They were just everywhere, the kudos.
Granola bars were health food back then. I remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, the stuff when you get older and like the amount, like one day I was just like talking to somebody and we thought of Burger King. We were laughing about Burger King and I was like, the number of $1 Whoppers I ate in my life.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my.
That's
oh my.
right.
Like how are my like kidneys or whatever
Yeah.
still
The
functioning?
number of $1 Whoppers I ate like just my freshman year of college, actually. Yeah, probably.
Right.
Yeah. So growing up,
Oh yeah, the kudos. What about
Are
the
you-
kudos?
when did you first have a Kudos? Where did you grow up?
Tell us about your addiction with Kudos. I mean, I don't remember exactly, but it was probably like 7 or 8 or something. But I remember just eating, you know, my mom, love her, bless her heart, she's from the South. She would just make some macaroni and cheese and some,
Yeah.
you know, all kinds of stuff and even stuff that back then she was like, this is healthy for you, you know?
Yeah,
It's like, nah,
It
it's
was
not.
just like cereal,
Yeah,
period.
Yeah.
But where did you, she's from the South, but where did you grow up?
Yeah, I grew up in Mission Viejo.
Oh, nice.
You know, I was born in Bellflower, and then my parents moved down south, a few moves, and then we landed in a house in Mission Viejo, and that's pretty much where I grew up and pretty close to where you were when we
Yeah.
met, Tony.
Yep. This
So-
Mission Viejo is the brother to San Juan.
The brother. So were your family musical people, or did your parents want you to take piano lessons or something like that?
Yeah, it's funny.
He's like, yes.
I just immediately flashed to a moment where I'm at Yamaha School of Music. I'm 7.
There we go.
I'm in this really nice like concert kind of hall, piano on stage, and there's like, I don't know, a couple hundred parents and kids, you know, and I think I'm like number 2, and I'm just like tremoring, you know, my body's shaking, and I go up on stage, and I don't remember, you know, how far I was, but not far. I'm like, you know, 20 seconds into this song and I mess up and I just start crying. I just start bawling. And my mom, you know, like the teacher or my mom kind of come up on stage and like, it's okay. And everybody kind of does the like, empathy clap, you know, just like, oh, the poor kid, you know, just like, so yeah, I started playing piano when I was on 7 to like 8, quit that. And then both my parents are musicians. My dad's a clarinetist, my piano player, sax player, great sax player, and my mom was a singer, and they had a band before I was born, and
Together?
Yeah, together.
Oh, that's
yeah.
What are they
awesome.
called?
Yeah, and they toured for a little bit, I think. I don't know. It's kind of a bummer, to be honest. Well, it's like they didn't record much. So there's not much to hear, and it was like back in the 70s. So, there wasn't a whole lot of people rolling around with 8mm cameras shooting
Exactly.
live
Right.
concerts or whatever.
Yeah.
So they had a band for a while called Fellowship.
Fellowship.
And
Acoustic stuff? Like,
it was like the little bit that I've heard, I don't know, it was like kind of funky white people music. You know?
There we go.
Like it was kind of kind of funky. Everybody was like playing. My dad would play the Rhodes,
Oh,
and
cool.
they had like
Okay.
they had a great rhythm section. and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's like Michael McDonald or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, that's fun.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know. And then they also did like they were like a club band at the Hilton, just
Oh,
playing
fun.
like Staying Alive and
My parents did the same.
Really?
They were in a band that was playing like restaurants and clubs and like all this stuff. Yeah.
no way. And where were they based when they were doing that?
Pomona at first, but then like down in Southern Orange County, they played at like an Italian place forever in Rancho Santa Margarita. They played at Sarducci's in San Juan, which is now like Trevor's at the track.
Yes.
Yeah, like
Dang,
residencies, man. Yeah.
Did you hear any of their stuff? Or
Oh
did you-
yeah, they played like the Great American Songbook, like all the stuff.
But I mean, did you get to hear them when you
Oh
were
yeah,
a kid? and stuff?
we went all the time.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's
yeah,
Yeah,
like
like
I
a couple
long
shows
for
a week.
that experience, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
it'd have been so cool. I used to see my dad play with like one of his best friends had a wedding band, right? And they were like top shelf back in the day. They played all the bougie spots in LA. All the guys that were players were like the drummer played on like Pet Sounds and the
Oh,
bass
wow.
player
Wow.
played on this.
Okay.
It was like
Oh my God.
top shelf
Like,
dudes who
wow.
were
Real
like just
guys.
always trying to find a gig, right? And so on Saturday nights they'd be playing some rando's wedding, and you're like, do you know what that guy can
like,
do?
who
He's
is that?
playing,
Yeah.
Who's playing the electric slide for you right now? Yeah.
oh my gosh, he's playing Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah.
And,
And
you
hating
gotta be
his life.
Yeah, exactly. But when I was 15, I got to like roadie with that band. So I started like setting up gear and learning the mixing board and stuff. And so I would go with them many weekends. And then sometimes I get to see my dad play Barry sax with that group. So that was
Oh,
super
cool.
cool. And but yeah, not a lot of seeing my parents play or sing much. Although I will say, my mom, I forget what age era this was. I'm gonna say like maybe like 9 to 12, something like that. My mom, every year about September, 7 people would roll into my house every Wednesday night for like 4-hour rehearsals of their 1800s themed caroling group that would roll around Knott's Berry Farm.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yes.
cool.
Yeah, so
Wow.
I hate Christmas music so much.
Oh, man. That's
Oh
hilarious.
God! It just like if I hear like, what's the one they would do all the time? Yes, that one.
Hark
Carol of the Bells.
and the
Sweet
bells.
Silver Bells, yeah,
So
right.
many bells.
And the other one
Please
is
stop the bells.
on the first day of Christmas,
Yeah.
true love gets you. Oh my God! And there was like 7-part harmonies and stuff. They were great, but oh my gosh!
Right.
But that was cool though. Like I was like a kid going like taking my friends to Knott's Berry Farm because we got in for free.
Oh, for free, yeah.
And like could go see my mom for a minute
Yep.
and get the rides and be like, that's my mom. You know?
Yeah.
She looks like she's from the 1800s.
Let's go ride a roller coaster.
Yeah.
So like seeing performers was very like, did you think I want to do that at any point or?
Yeah, I mean, you were kind of hanging out with your dad's band and watching your
And
mom do this
roadieing.
rehearsal thing. Were you playing your own stuff at that point?
Yeah, so 5th grade, I moved into, I think there was a little lull. And then like 5th grade, I moved into playing clarinet because I really wanted to play sax. I thought sax was cool. And my dad was the man. I mean, he was a killer sax player. And I was like, this is dope. I want to try this. And my dad's like, you got to play clarinet first because that's the path to sax,
Oh,
Which is
really?
like it's like a
Interesting.
traditional thing where you
Oh,
learn
yeah.
clarinet. And then when you're in like a symphonic setting, you play both, right? Eventually,
okay.
top you're not, right? But like high school, college, maybe you might like double up or play like marching band, play sax and
Yeah.
clarinet and symphony or something. So I started playing clarinet, and I think I got a year in, and man, I hated that instrument so much. And this gentleman who was my teacher was just the boringest,
that's-
boringest guy. And
That
I would
makes
go in
such a
every
big
week. I remember
difference.
going to this place in Irvine. I would just be like, "Oh my God!" I felt like Napoleon Dynamite, just like, just like, I would go and like grab his sax and like start trying to play. like when he wasn't home and stuff, because they might like be like, well, you need to stay to the clarinet. And so I started playing sax a little bit, and it was fun. And I was just like, we had a couple different little instruments around. I would pick up stuff, and then how far are we going here? You want
All
to
the
keep
way.
going? All right.
Yeah.
So I think about it was maybe 6th grade. I like found this old crappy guitar my dad had in the garage, and I was like, "Wow, can I play this? Can we put strings on it?" And I think somewhere in there, I may have picked that up a couple times. But then in 7th grade, for some reason, everything musically, just every music really started to show up. I think it's pretty common, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like 7th grade was like, I'm like getting introduced to all these like cool bands and artists and people that I was, became into. And so
Like who?
well, I don't say, I think musically, specifically, like when I heard Blood Sugar Sex Magic by the Chili Peppers,
Same.
that was when I shifted to like, oh, I got to play the bass. What is happening?
That's
what
what
is
happened.
this? Same for you?
Same.
Tony
Flea.
too.
It was Flea. I was like, I have to do this now forever.
Flea is the gateway.
We got to go to a show sometime.
Yeah, please.
I've only seen them once. I
did
would love to.
the same thing. That
What?
that album was hugely influential.
Oh
for
yeah,
me.
I spun that
Inspired
album
three people.
every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I just so eventually I got into bass, but it was like Beastie Boys, Check Your Head.
Yeah.
Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, maybe some like little bit of grunge. How was that? I think Nirvana in that zone as well. Like I started listening to more rock stuff, Zeppelin, one thing after another. So I started playing guitar maybe, and by the way, I was begging my dad, like, please, like, give me a bass, give me a bass. And he's like, all right, yeah. And I think he was doing the thing of like, does your son like really want to do this? Or like,
Yeah.
So I just kept on it. And I started, it was like everything I was listening to, all I could hear was the bass for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Just like, oh my God, that's so cool. Oh my gosh. Whether it was Metallica or Green Day or Zeppelin or whoever, I was just, so, and then I think freshman year, I started playing guitar more, like acoustic guitar or something around my house or whatever. I can't remember exactly. And then I met my friend Ethan Luck, who became one of my best friends. We started Pax together, and he was this like 16-year-old dude who rolls in freshman year, or 15-year-old kid who rolls in freshman year, and we're all like, who's this guy? Who's the new dude? And he's got like long hair and he looks kind of cool. And I go to Santa Margarita High School at the time, so it's like uniforms and like super preppy.
Oh
and-
gosh, yeah.
So you could tell the only way you can flex a little bit, is like your hair,
yeah.
and maybe like a wristband or something. Or if they're like really rebellious, you were wearing like tan Dickies.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was
There
like,
we go.
hope you don't get a what's it called?
A demerit.
Demerit or like
wow.
or detention,
Detention, there it
So
is.
Ethan rolls in, we connect. I'm like, do you know how to play like Enter Sandman? He's like, yeah, dude, I'll write you out the tab. I'm like, what? You know how to do that? So he's like writing out tab, and he's like, okay, and this is the E string, this is the low E string.
That's
He's
so
like, telling me.
cool.
And we became friends, and then I got a bass like that same year.
What bass did
Dad
you
caved
get?
in.
I got it was like a PV,
Yep.
like a black and white
Yeah.
$100, $200 PV.
Love
I
it.
love that thing. I loved
Yeah.
it. And I just locked myself in my room and I couldn't stop. I was just completely obsessed. And Ethan started playing with me and he's like, hey, you want to start a band? And I was like, Ethan Luck wants to start a band. Holy crap, this is awesome. So we had a couple like cover bands. We had this rad dude that sang with us at school and we played couple little shows, and then he and I started Pax, and it was us two, and then our friend John came in and started playing, and
It's so cool.
on and on. But yeah, so also I'm gonna flash back to one moment that I that I think is really great. So I grew up like very conservative Christian home, and my parents were very much. But while I'm listening to like the Chili Peppers and Motley Crue and whoever, my parents are like, you can't listen to this music, and like you need to listen to some Christian music, and they're giving me like,
Michael W. Smith.
yeah, well, there's like another one. My dad was friends with Bobby Carlisle.
Oh, okay.
You know this guy? He had that song "Butterfly Kisses." It was like a big
Oh, yeah.
hit like years
Yeah,
and years
yeah,
ago.
yeah.
Okay, so my dad, Bobby Carlisle used to play in my dad's band. So he's like, I know that guy, and like, whatever. So he would give me like his Christian albums, and then I started going to the Christian bookstore and finding like Petra or like some of
Oh,
these
yeah.
other like rock bands and being
Stryker.
like, well, I guess this is like kind of decent, you know. Striper, awesome.
Oh, is it
And
Striper? I said Striker. My bad. Is it Striper?
Striper.
Yeah, they had like they wore like the leopard.
Black and 100%. Yeah, we played with those guys back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, just met their old manager yesterday. So random.
That is random.
Yeah,
I love that.
You
I love
mentioned that. So I started getting introduced to this. So just to back up a little bit, like I just remembered 5th grade, I'm going to this Christian school. My parents don't know I listen to anything for that matter. And other than like James Brown or whatever we were listening to in the house. And I go to this 5th grade Sacramento trip and I bring my cassette player and I got 2 CDs that I can remember, or 2 cassette tapes. One is Warrant Cherry Pie, and the other one is 2 Live Crew Me So Horny.
Not Christian at all.
No.
And I remembered not too long ago, I was talking about this with somebody, and I was like, oh my God, the amount of times I listened to Me So Horny laying in bed with headphones on, just programming the mind. Oh my gosh, just right before bed, kids. Let's listen to this.
Oh, that's so funny.
Sitting at home watching Arsenio Hall. I grabbed the black book and I freaked the call. You know? It's like,
So
Man.
But wait a minute. So your parents obviously had no idea you had these.
no clue.
No.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's like, talk about the exact music they don't want you listening to.
know,
It's
right?
probably 2 Live Crew.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, isn't that the thing? If you make it taboo, it is.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And then it's like,
Well, even Blood Sugar Sex Magic. I mean,
Oh, there's a lot of
Well,
dirty-
I mean, geez, Sir Psycho Sexy, that song. Like even my
yeah.
parents weren't too square, but they were not fans of that particular song on the
Well,
record.
the album title itself sounds like a pagan ritual.
Yeah.
So it's,
yeah. Blood Sugar Sex
Yeah.
Magic. Yeah. And then Human Sacrifice. No, that's interesting because I mean, did you, or at least in your recollection, were you being rebellious or were you like, this just attracts me?
that's a good question.
I love it both.
Or did it
huh?
attract you because it was taboo?
well, it's funny because you were saying too, like you were checking out the bands at the store, and you're like, I guess this is okay. It was kind of like you wanted more out of the music that you were allowed to listen to.
Yeah, we can get, I think, you know, obviously I'm like super young and not being like philosophical about it, but I looking back, I think it was like this, there was something about it didn't feel real or didn't feel authentic maybe.
Yeah.
And like, I was definitely drawn to wild expression because I lived in a house that wasn't wildly expressive, you know, whatsoever. Yeah. And perfectionism was very much a thing. And, you know, nice and tidy and, you know, like, and then do it for Jesus kind of stuff. So,
Jeez, the piano moment makes a lot of sense now.
yeah.
You know, where
well,
it's just
that's
like,
a lot of pressure
man.
for
So
a
much
little
pressure.
kid.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, that's not expression. That's
Yeah.
like,
Well, it's
And to be
literally a
f-
recital. You
Yeah,
are
totally.
reciting, yeah.
Right. But yeah, there was definitely an innate, we are taught so much just clearly, maybe it's obvious, like by the way of being that our parents are in.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so like my mom didn't need to say, you need to do it perfect, right? She
Right,
was just
well, you
like
watched her
constantly
rehearsals.
concerned with her own sense
Yeah.
of that, right? And my dad's maybe as well. I think maybe my dad was a little bit less in that space, but I was also with my mom 95% of the time probably. So it really showed up there. But yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, if you were actually like watching her rehearsals, I'm sure you were absorbing a lot just from how they conducted that. And if it was 7-part harmonies, and again, it's like session music or, you know, gig musicians, it's a whole different vibe. They are more about like the perfection and the tidiness and like doing the thing right
Every time.
versus and consistency. So I can imagine you absorbed a lot from just like watching her do that.
but it's also like perfection of a genre that you don't like, you know? So it's kind of like,
Yeah, right.
Super strange.
So, okay, so, you know, you're this young kid, you're kind of forming your taste. At what point did you actually start writing?
I think freshman year.
on that acoustic that you found. Yeah.
Yeah, just, you know, barely knowing how to play, but you're going to try something.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know,
Make
Everyone
some
some
noise
little
somewhere.
riff or something. Yeah, I don't remember before that writing anything. I think freshman year, I was playing acoustic guitar, and yeah, getting really, started listening to Marley, started listening to like a bunch of like, classic rock, and then more modern stuff, and then hip hop as well. And so I was just really inspired by all that. And it's funny when you start digging into the memory bank. It's like,
well, sometimes
what else
it's
was I
hard to
super
remember.
into?
Was that period of time? Is that when that album came out?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really like. I think that freshman year I started doing it, and I was also I was in a creative writing class that was really dope. That my teacher was awesome. She would do these dope guided meditations in class. Like we would all lay down, and she would do these beautiful meditations, and she would guide you through this whole visualization, and then have you write afterwards.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and it was super rad. And I didn't.
Fun.
It's that thing that she didn't realize at the time, especially like 94 or whatever. Like didn't realize how cool it is until now. I'm like, man, she was like super progressive back then.
Yeah.
That was like,
She was on something
that would have been
early.
like taboo and woo woo or something to like do that.
Well, especially at a Christian school, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catholic.
Catholic school.
So
yeah.
that's pretty cool though. So like you were both like learning the instrument and then also, almost doing like whatever your Catholic school version of the artist's way was.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
really neat. So I mean, do you remember what kind of stuff you were writing about at that point? Or do you have a specific memory of like a
It's funny you say that because when I was digging through the garage this morning, looking through the archives for this, I was looking for this one notebook that I know I found and I couldn't find it. But I found the notebook from that class.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
It was
Nice.
all the writings, and a lot of them she would give prompts, so they were prompted by something, and then you just go,
Yeah.
So it was a lot of free form, like not sitting with something for a while, and so I don't remember too much about it. There wasn't a lot of like, I wasn't writing about love too much.
Right.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you're like not there
I
yet.
still don't. I just guess,
I love that you're like your authentic heart was like calling you like I'm gonna write about what I want. Like that's cool.
Yeah, it was all very like I said, because it was prompted, I think I just kind of like let stuff just flow out, which felt really good, which is the first time I was introduced to that and sort of like, I want to find her and thank her. That was a gift. That was a super,
shout out teacher,
super beautiful gift.
But okay, so then were you kind of like, oh, I like this. I guess I'll keep going. Or how did sort of the formation of the band happen after that point?
Yeah,
With
so
Ethan,
so Ethan and I started playing together, and he super talented, kills the guitar, and also is great at playing drums. And so sometimes it would just be him and I, like drums and bass jam, and we would just like write little riffs and stuff. And I was, I was like, I think I was 3 months in or 4 months in when we started playing together. And then he would write guitar parts, and he was great at like crafting a whole thing. So he would come back and be like, I got this guitar, and I think the bass goes something like this, and the drum beat will be like this. And then we got our friend John to play drums, and the three of us started writing, quote unquote songs,
Sure.
things of music,
Yeah.
things that sounded, and then
Things of music.
Things that sounded.
things that sounded, and then we met this guy named Frank who became our singer, and he was the first singer, and so we're like 16 and he's 24.
Oh, wow.
And
How'd you meet Frank?
I cannot remember. I think we put an ad up somewhere.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah.
But this is pre-Craigslist, so I don't even know.
Maybe like on the wall
Like
at the coffee
we
shop
might
or
have put
something.
the coffee shops or in like churches probably. 'Cause he
Yeah,
went
yeah.
to like this big Saddleback Church, that huge church.
Oh, he was
yeah,
Saddleback.
And so he was really connected, and he played on bands there, and so I think it came through that. We met him. We were like, cool, and we did about what was it, like 2.5 years with him. Played shows. It was great because he was older, so he was like, I got us a show. We were like,
yeah.
we were just. I was trying to figure out what note to play.
Yeah, how
still,
are we
you
gonna
know?
find a
I got us
So-
a show.
You're like,
That's
I'm
it.
16. I don't know anybody.
So it was rad because Frankie would just like go make stuff happen, and then his buddy got involved, and he'd help us make merch, and stuff like that. So
Oh, cool.
it was super rad. And we were a total culmination of everything we were listening to at the time, which was, again, Chili Peppers, Beastie Boys, a bunch of ska music like like the Specials, and also like right at that time was like this huge bursting music scene in Christian bands.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
was that like the late 90s?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mid 90s for me, like 95.
Supertones?
96.
It's funny we're
Supertones.
talking about like Jars of
Jars of
Clay,
Clay.
like
Yeah.
you know, like because I mean,
There was a lot of crossover
there were
bands at that point, I think.
a lot of Christian rock crossover bands that I had no idea were Christian rock bands at the time.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
just like, oh wow, yeah.
But you guys played with the OC Supertones, right?
Yeah, so we were really good friends with them. They lived close. Like Tony, the bass player, lived down like a street over from me, and he became my bass teacher for a while. And,
Oh, cute.
and I was so inspired by dudes that were just a little bit older than me that were like actually playing
Like
shows.
doing it, yeah.
They were called Saved back then.
Oh.
Yeah.
and they were not all ska music. They were like some ska, but they were doing the same kind of thing where they were like influenced by all these bands. And so sometimes Matt would rap, and sometimes they would be like a kind of punk something or ska punk, and then they would be like really alternative, like I don't know,
Like more like alternative radio kind of.
yeah, like I'm thinking of like Black Hole. They would sound like maybe a song like Black Hole Sun.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, they were doing all this different stuff. And at the time, Ethan started playing guitar with them, which was like this big deal too. He's like, I got in the Supertones, and we were like, no way, our friend's in this legit band. And my dad had this awesome like 80s Toyota minivan.
Yeah.
You remember those?
Amazing.
They're so amazing. They had like the little igloo in the center console. I was
that's
so
fun.
hyped on that thing. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, you could
We
put
could
so
put
much gear
6
in that.
packs of
Yeah.
soda. So I would drive that van to their shows, and I'd be their roadie.
Nice.
So I was like, I'm with the Supertones, or Saved at the time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then became the Supertones later. So Pax started playing and getting on these little like Christian gigs. There was tons of, shouts to all the youth groups that were like letting
Right.
kids at my age come and be like, yeah, awesome, you're doing music, like
Yeah.
play music, and also make sure it's like all Christian lyrics or whatever about God, but like come do a show here, and they
But
had,
giving you a
they had,
place to play
It was
is
amazing,
huge.
yeah,
It's
and
huge.
And so we got really lucky. And I was just absolutely relentless. Like I just didn't see anything else in life to do than just like make this be a thing, And so it was like the hours at Kinko's making quarter sheet flyers and
Oh God, yeah.
getting anywhere I could around town, my dad's van, and posting flyers everywhere to come to our show.
Well,
and
yeah,
telling
that's
every
what you did
person I
before
could,
Instagram.
Right. Exactly.
You had
Before
to put up
MySpace.
actual things, yeah.
Before internet.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, for sure.
But people also paid attention to that. You kind of like see the flyers and be like, we got to go.
Yeah, totally. What's this?
So you were like on fire, and was the rest of your band, were they like equally enthusiastic about the whole thing?
For the most part, I would say a couple of the guys not as much, but for sure, like myself, and I would say Frank at the time too, the singer, was like really, like I said, he was booking shows, and he was kind of like, because he was older, he was making more connections and making calls, and I'd be like, who do I call for like, what do you do?
Yeah.
So a little bit after that, we played, a couple years, and we put out, that's one of the cassettes I found, which I would love to, I want to listen to that again. It's so funny. I found like 20 copies of the first demo that we ever did,
Yeah.
which was with this guy named Bob Moon, who recorded a ton of the early Tooth and Nail record stuff.
Oh, yeah.
If you would know that, it's maybe
Shout
obscure to
out
a lot of
Ebles.
people.
Oh yeah, Tooth and Nail. We've talked about them
right?
a couple times on the pod.
So yeah, they were such a help to a lot of bands in a lot of ways, and so we did this demo, like 8 hours, recorded 4 songs, and then that kind of helped us get out there a little bit more and be heard. And then fast forward like 2 years. Let's see, I'm 18. Yeah, I'm 18, and it's Ethan's gone. Ethan moved on. He was playing with the Supertones. I think he was gone touring. He also played with Project 86, helped them write that first record.
Yeah.
Cool.
The dude, my brother, has played on so many albums and toured with so many people. He was auxiliary guy for Kings of Leon for a while.
Oh, wow.
He's done and he's still touring like a madman. He's just
So wait,
talented.
but he left your group like in the middle of playing?
Yeah,
Is
I
that-
was so bummed.
That's
I
so,
was
yeah, such a
sad.
bummer. He started the band with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was like it was a trippy thing.
But it sounds like he left just as you guys were about to like really start to make things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way. Frank quit. Oh, I think actually Ethan quit first. And we were bummed. And it was like, okay, we'll get another guitar player. We did. We had a couple different people come through that helped us play. And then one day we had this, so at my house, we had a little practice room, and John, the original drummer, had left. And part of the reason he was gone because he wanted to do other things, but also there's this one show that we played at this church, and last minute, John couldn't make it because he had to do drumline for high school. And my brother, Aaron, was 11. And I was like, I looked at Ethan when we got the phone call, like, John's like, I can't come to the show on, it was like a day away. And we're like, what? And, it wasn't a big deal, guys. We could have just not played the show.
But then
not
that's everything.
We
Not
did.
an option.
Yeah.
We did because I was like, dude, my brother can do it. And we only had a 20-minute set, so we were going to just play 4 songs.
Sure.
Yeah.
The 4 on the demo, and my brother rehearsed to those every day. So I was like, Aaron could do it. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, dude, let's just rehearse with him one time. He's like, all right, okay. And my brother killed it.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Nice.
And he was 11?
He was 11.
That's so,
and I was like,
Was
and
that
I
his
16.
first show?
Yeah.
Oh, I love
That's
it.
Yeah, so
amazing.
he just jumps on stage at this little church. There's like 200 kids there. It's packed out. It was awesome. Super fun show. And we did well. We crushed it. And my
Yeah.
brother crushed it. And afterwards, we were like, Aaron, you killed it. All these kids were like, oh my God. You're like a 12-year-old watching an 11-year-old play.
That's so cool.
So fun.
I love it.
And so Aaron became the drummer. And then fast
You're like,
forward.
sorry, John, you can have your drum line.
Yeah. Beat it. My brother's in the band. And so we then like started rehearsing and playing a lot together, and then Frankie quit not long after that. And then we're in this moment, which was my brother and I in this practice room. Frankie comes to my house. We're supposed to have practice. He's like, hey guys, I'm out of here. And we're like, no.
Where was he off to?
I don't know.
No, man. Is it still music or no?
No, he wasn't. It wasn't like he was going to go do something else, but he was like getting married, and
Oh,
he
gotcha.
was just
Oh,
felt
okay.
like he was
Life
just
stuff.
whatever.
Yeah.
Just
Sure.
lost interest. And so
Maybe his wife was like, why are you in a band with middle school kids?
Listen, you don't think about that when you're in high school. You just
No,
the
you're like,
other
why
way
would he want to
around.
quit this great band we have?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, because he's
That's
an adult
awesome.
and you are a child.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
But
She was actually really sweet. Maybe that could have been. That's funny.
I don't know. I'm just
yeah,
being
of
silly.
course.
That's
But-
funny. Nice
so
perspective. I like that.
Yeah. So from there, it's my brother and I. I'm like, I'm doing this band, man. Are you with me? And he's like, yeah, I'm in. I'm like, all right, we're going to find a guitar player and a singer. We're going to make this happen. And I called a couple guys that I knew to come play with us. And we went for a few months, like playing shows with a couple guitar players who were hilarious.
Like in what way?
Well,
Hilariously bad.
yeah.
Oh my God. So there's this dude named Thad. I love you, Thad. You know this.
Shout
you
out
would
Thad.
be here telling this same story if you were here. Thad was the funniest dude. He would roll up to play shows. We'd have rehearsal, and we were going to rehearse.
Yeah.
Like Mom's caroling group.
Yeah.
And so so it's like we got a 4-hour practice on Sunday or whatever, and he lived a minute and a half from my house. A minute and a half, maybe 2, if he hit the lights. And like 45 minutes late, we'd be like calling him like, yo, where are you at? And this would be like 1 p.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And we'd call him, where are you at? He's like, oh. And he would do this sort of like Chris Farley thing where he'd like literally, we'll get into a little ASMR for a minute. He'd be like, oh, dude, I'm so, what time is it? What time? We'll be like, that. He doesn't smoke weed. He doesn't do anything. He's just like lazy. And it's Sunday. And I'm like, where are you, man? And he's like, sorry, guys, I'll be right over. And then we'd be like, ah. So we'd be like waiting for Thad, right? Thad would roll up, come into our house with his guitar, and we'd be like, all right, you want some help getting your amp? Because it was like upstairs, And he'd be like, yeah. And then he'd be like, oh, crap. I forgot my amp. I mean, shows, rehearsals, like the number of times we were like, oh my God, Thad, like about to play a show, about to go on. And he's like, I don't have a power cord for the back of my amp. And I'm like, you had 6 weeks to figure the cord out, So
Oh my
anyways,
God.
That's hilarious.
love the dude. He was hilarious. We got along so well, but he also drove us nuts in that way. It was super funny. Anyways, one day my friend, we're looking for a guitar player and a singer. And my friend was like, we were talking about, I was like, man, it sucks, man. We can't find anybody who's good. Like, who's cool? Like, we need a cool singer, And he was like, why aren't you the singer? And I was like, I don't know how to sing. And he's like, you should be the singer. You're like, everybody used to come to the Pax shows. Everybody knows that you were a better front guy than your old singer was. And I'm like, no way, dude. I was just whatever, having fun. And he's like, no, you should
I love it.
So he's like, you should sing. And I'm like,
See, I was waiting for this part of the story.
yeah. I was like, I don't think I can, So, all right, let me try it. So I call up my friend Josh, who played in this like super fast, like MXPX kind of punk rock band. And I'm like, you want to come play with us? And he loved us and he thought we were really cool. And he was younger too. So I'm like 18, he's 16. My brother's 13. And then we get this dude, there was a couple other guys that sat in for a minute, but then we got to Jesse, who became our guitar player. Jesse was in another band that was kind of like a No Doubt kind of ska, like this girl singer.
That would have
They
been
were
the
great.
time.
They were
Yeah.
great. They were great, and love you, Chelsea. She's amazing. And so Jesse started playing guitar with us, and I started singing. And I had been up until that point, I was like writing a lot of lyrics. Like I was writing all the lyrics for Frank, or most of them. I think maybe there's one song or something that he wrote, but so I was like writing lyrics. I was writing bass and guitar parts. I was kind of still like adding a lot creatively, and then I went to just like, oh, I'm going to be a singer. This is weird. Can I even do it? And then as I remember, our first show was a show called Youth Wave that was at SDSU Amphitheater. So it's like 3,000 people.
Oh, wow.
With
Cool.
like POD and the Supertones and
Wow.
Stavesaker. Like a bunch of like, it was a big deal back then for sure. It was like, especially POD was in their hometown.
Yeah.
They were really on the rise.
They were one of those
big,
crossover bands.
Yeah. And they were just about to blow up. They were like, everybody was paying attention to them. So we go do this show, and I'm like backstage on this massive stage. I was like, holy crap, how am I going to do this today? Like, can I pull this off? And I wish I had video of that. The video would tell the truth, but I'm pretty sure we killed it.
Yeah.
And it was super fun, and I was so out of breath.
Yeah.
I remember being in between songs, being like
Yeah.
off the mic, trying not to like pant in
Well,
the
the
mic.
style of music you were playing, like, you got to have a lot of
Energy.
lung power.
Yeah.
Get that cardio.
Yeah. Oh my God, but you killed it.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Oh
so
my
First
God.
time just singing, not playing anything.
just
like,
being a singer, and that's such an awkward feeling too. When
not
you're used to
holding?
having
What do you do with your
something,
hands?
this instrument you can hide behind a little bit and look down at the ground. But
What do you do with your
And then
hands?
you're like staring at every kid and every mom or whatever,
And
is
everyone's
there.
just looking straight
And
at
they look
you,
at you, and
yeah.
you're like, okay. So that was fun, and I guess the rest is history because we just went for
Yeah.
it.
And was the song that you were gonna try to play for us from that first album Tonight?
No,
Okay.
that's actually from the second album.
The second album, okay.
Yeah, it was the first song on the second album. And that was actually written, part of that chorus was kind of like written way back with another friend who I was in this like little fun side punk rock band called Riot Squad for a while.
Oh, sweet.
Fun.
With
It's a
like
great
three of
name.
my friends. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
really
is.
wish that band would have actually played shows.
Is there anything online or too early?
No.
Way too early.
No, I mean, I remember we used to have a cassette recorder that we would like hit record in the little tiny, like smaller than this room.
Oh, God. And then play
and then
punk
like
music?
we'd put towels over it to
Oh,
try to like
smart.
mute it.
Yeah,
It'd still distort. It would sound muffly and distorted, versus
yeah,
bright
yeah,
and
yeah,
distorted.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's great.
It's impressive.
That's so funny. Yeah, the limitations of the technology we had in like the mid to late 90s. Like, well, it's on tape. I mean,
There's
somehow,
nothing else we
it
can
doesn't
really do.
sound good,
Yeah.
but it is on tape.
That'd be fun to find those. But
Oh my God.
we were like the coolest band with ridiculous songs that never did anything. But like my friends started making like rad screen printed like Dickies jackets and stuff.
He
We
made
were making
merch and you guys didn't even play shows?
I know. It was like this. It was like this myth.
I love that.
Wait,
mythological
so it was
band.
punk? Like what does it sound
It
like?
it was super like Clash, The Addicts. What else?
Did you play bass on that?
I
or-
played drums.
Play drums
Oh,
on it?
wow.
Yeah.
So it really was a.
Yeah, it was like, hey, what instrument do you play terribly? And I'm like, oh, the drums. And they're like, you're gonna play
the
that
drummer.
one.
Great. Let's all play the instruments we're least good at.
I love that.
That is kind of fun.
That
But that's
sounds so
also
fun.
kind of the point of a side project
It was
sometimes.
fun.
It's just to stretch you a little bit creatively.
And I was like singer of another band, so I just wanted to be in the back on another
Yeah.
one, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And let the other dudes, like my
Yeah.
good friend Cameron, be the singer, you know.
Yeah,
He
you
was
do
just-
the interviews.
Yeah, exactly. And he was great. He would have been such a great front man. Gosh, Cameron.
I know. So what happened after the album came out?
We just started touring like crazy. We
Yeah.
did our first tour was like, I think it was 12 shows in 18 days, all the way from here to Maine and back.
Wow.
So like in the winter too, by the way. So
Oh,
it's like,
no.
Oh,
it was
fun.
just every show was like a 12 to 18 hour drive.
Yep.
In the snow.
For like $100
Yep.
in the snow, going through the Rockies
Yep.
with a little crappy van and trailer, you know. But it was awesome. Pigeon John went out with us. I don't know if you guys know Pigeon, but he's like a rad artist rapper who's been around forever and just a cool dude. And this band, Big Dog Small Fence, that was like a super kind of sublime vibe. And that's where we met Bobby, our DJ, he was their DJ and he became our DJ. We were like, we brought a DJ out on the first album. And so we're always like, man, we need to find a DJ, you know, that'd be cool. And that was like right around the time like Incubus
Oh yeah.
and 311.
Yeah.
2000s,
I
yeah.
was just thinking
I was
about
trying to think of
311.
who else, and the Beastie Boys for sure, but they were like, you know, they would pretty much just like have a DJ and then play as a band. They weren't
Yeah.
like as integrated, I think, but
It wasn't
it
like
definitely
Limp
influenced.
Bizkit going hard then?
Limp Bizkit,
Yeah, there
right?
was
Like
definitely
all
a
that
trend for
was
that,
happening.
yeah.
And so we were like, yeah, we should get. So he started playing these shows on the tour, and then we were like, hey, you want to come play with us?
Yeah,
And he's
hey,
like,
come on.
and
So
that
you
band-
poached him.
Yeah, we kind of poached him. And that band ended like not too long after that.
Because the DJ left.
Yeah, everything falls apart when the DJ leaves.
Probably your fault. Yeah, probably your fault. But
So yeah, and then we just started touring like crazy. We were like just doing everything we could for the album to come out and push that. And then we did our next like national tour that was actually like 3 months with a band called Plank Eye.
Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, they're great. And I love those guys. And Reliant K.
Oh, I remember them too.
And then half of the tour was Bleach. Yes.
Bleach.
Oh, I love
Oh,
Bleach.
yeah.
They're the best guys ever. We had so much fun on this. And they were like, oh, you young virgin band dudes, like, come
Yeah.
out with us, you know, we'll
Yeah.
teach you the way. And so we had so much fun. There was so many late night Denny's moves and
Yeah.
Waffle House and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
this stuff, right? And they were great. And they really, like, encouraged us a lot. And Bleach and us were on the same label. So we would kind of, like, you know, co-commiserate with our label drama and stuff.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we just had a blast. And funny enough, our album came out on 2/17. So it's February 17th. We're in Michigan. And we're driving, all three bands are driving vans and trailers. We're driving, it's like freezing.
Oh yeah.
And it's like 6 a.m. And we were the last van. And all of a sudden, one of our axles just started tripping out. And our wheel actually almost fell off the axle. And so we had to pull over real quick. And we're all like on our phones, like calling everybody in the band, but nobody saw us. So it's like everybody's asleep. The driver's driving. They missed it. So we pull over on the side of a road. 13 or 14 hours later, the lighting tech from the tour found us.
Oh wow.
Again, like no GPS.
Yeah.
We're not like dropping pins, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
No, yeah.
like it was like, and what happened was like we told them, and I forget exactly which one it was, but we told them like, we got a hold of somebody and we said, we're on the I-94. And they're like, okay. Well, we were actually on the I-96 and this other dude's driving I-94 for hours looking for us, just up and down, going like, where are they? And like cell service was bad. And then like a bunch of our phones died. And so we're literally ended up on our record release show on the side of a Michigan highway, freezing our brains out. Just the trailer, the van had gotten towed to like a shop, just our trailer with all our merch and our gear, and we're all just on the side of the road. We literally tried to like hitchhike and get people to help us. We were like waving people for hours. Like no one stopped once for us. And finally this dude from like the roadside, like what would be, you know, like
AAA or something?
Caltrans.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Here, whatever it was in Michigan, they were like, this dude pulls over and is like, are you guys all right? And we're like, no. it's freaking 11 o'clock at night. It's like 4 degrees and we're all like shivering and not playing our record release show. And so this dude helped us out. We finally find our guy. We get back to the show. We got to the show as they were like just finishing loading out. And they were like, dang it, there was a massive crowd here. So many people were hyped to see you, you know, and we're like, nah. So that was a funny way so the legendary story of how we started our, you know, album releasing in the world.
Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, it's actually a pretty great story, but
Yeah.
I bet it
Yeah.
sucked at the time.
Oh yeah.
You know, We just
because you couldn't like post an Instagram story about it.
Yeah, right.
You
Yeah,
know?
so he would have found us if we had
Yeah,
done that.
yeah. That would have been like a 2-hour ordeal if you had all had smartphones.
Totally.
But
Did the fans like get news later? Like, because I mean, at the time, you don't know what happened. You're like, are they okay?
The bands before us, you know, they told them like Pax217 got broken down on the side of the road, and we're not sure where they are, if they're gonna make it. You know,
we're not sure they're gonna make it. Like, wait,
Through.
hopefully they actually
are they
survive
gonna live?
this.
Yeah.
Drive.
Yeah. Oh my God. That is that's some pretty high drama. And like here it is, like your debut album. Like, oh my God, this is like such a big moment. Like, nope, we're just freezing our asses off in Michigan.
Yeah.
But you obviously persevered.
Yeah.
And continued playing.
About 200 to 250 shows for 9 years.
Wow.
Love it.
Just trying to kill ourselves.
Like per year?
Yeah.
Whew.
Every year. It's like 2 days off, a month and a half out, 3 days off, you know.
Is it just kind of the fatigue of that ultimately kind of closed it out for you? Or were you, I mean,
There's
because that sounds hard.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a challenge. The last couple of years, we went through getting out of our record deal to then start writing new songs, to then have like several like managers and labels who were kind of looking at us. Interesting, the things you find out later. It's like for years, like all the majors were like tracking us. They knew about us. They knew what was going on. They knew we were selling records. They were watching our sound scan. They were like, could this band be one of those breakthroughs? Because we were big in the Christian world, but not mainstream, right? So we get out of our deal. We started writing. We're like, told our booking agent, like, hey, like, we're going to take some time off. We're going to write. We're just going to live some normal life for a little bit. And then find new management and kind of just like recenter and write through that process, but business-wise, like recenter. And during that time, we had like one dude was going through really a bunch of tough stuff, just personal stuff. He quit. And then it was like us 3 original members and a guitar player, bass player, myself, another drummer. My brother didn't end up touring with us much. So yeah, from there it was like just working our brains out to record and write and all the things. And then I took a vacation to Italy with my wife, and for like 2 weeks, first vacation I think I'd ever had, and felt so good. I came back later. 2 days later, we played a show, and 2 days later we had a meeting, and the guitar player was like, "I'm out. I'm getting married. I don't want to do this anymore." And we were like, "No." And it was just Josh and the bass player and I. We kind of just looked at each other and went like,
Is this the logical conclusion?
Yeah, it's like we sort of went, and he and I had been in just some like disconnection and like not really vibing. We weren't like angry or anything. We weren't like having fights or anything, but we were just
not aligned.
Yeah, and so we kind of went like and at the same time, he and I were the biggest creative forces of the band. Probably, I think that's fair to say. I don't say that to be egoic, but just we were the two that were writing most of the stuff, and so. Yeah, we ended. And it was crazy. And then a week later, I'm like, find out that I'm going to have my daughter.
Oh, so not so much an ending as a new beginning.
Of course, yeah, exactly.
But I mean, not to be saccharine about it, but you know, I mean, you might have been 2 weeks later. You might have been the guy going, "Look, I'm about to have a baby. I don't know if I can do this band thing."
Nah, that wouldn't have happened.
Well, I can't tour 250 days.
Yeah, maybe not 250 then for sure.
But I want to back up just a little bit. I'm sorry I sort of put the cart before the horse a little bit. You did make a second album with Pax, and you were maybe going to try to play us a song from that.
Yeah, there's a song called Tonight that was the first song on the album. And we can give it a shot.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Tonight, can you hear us? Tonight, we are moving tonight. Can you hear us? Tonight, we are moving. Pack your bags, preparation to move. We see the coming of our God all so soon. So I ask you, what did you do? What did you do last night? Well, every one of us thinks we got it together. We're seeking out things instead of coming together. We need to focus on the things above, cause the things below will never fill us up. Oh, oh, oh. There it is. Oh, 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 oh. Tonight, can you hear us? Tonight, we are waiting tonight. Can you hear us tonight? We are moving. Everybody always talking about movement, talking hype, but the mouths can't prove it. Lacking action, and they try, but they can't find traction. Cause the soul in the shoe is all worn out, and they're jumping for something, but they can't find the ground. Cause you see, you and me, we gotta break the box that we live in. Oh, 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 oh. Tonight, can you hear us? Tonight, we are waiting tonight. Can you hear us tonight? We are moving.
Yes.
Oh man! Oh, you made
So
my guitar
good.
sound so good.
That's so moving, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
beautiful.
the guitar really sounds beautiful in your hands.
It's really warm.
Yeah. What do you are you doing anything musically now?
Yeah, I have very slowly worked on some music. I've recommitted to it recently because I just get so busy with life and whatever, and I keep putting it on the back burner. And all excuses aside, I just need to like jump in and make it happen, you know.
Yeah.
And so I've been writing more and more. I've got a couple of tracks I'm working on with a really good friend of mine who's amazing, so talented. Works with the One Republic guys a lot and has done a lot of cool production. And he used to be a fan when we were young.
Oh, that's so cool.
he's been really supportive of just like, do it, man, just put something out, you know? And so I'm grateful for him. And yeah, it's exciting and trippy because what I'm used to in music has been just to fully like submerge self, become mad scientist, not talk to anybody for 2 weeks and just but you know, I'm a single dad, like has to like work and do all the things and care for the people, and I love it. And also I get these like little fragment chunks of time, and so I don't feel the inertia often, but I feel really good singing what I'm singing right now. And it's taken me a long time to find a sense of self again in a very different way. Like the music's very different. The singing's very different. I'm not like, it's not like belting and stuff necessarily. Not that it won't be, but just right now anyway, what's coming through is just, because a lot of it's like context, right? Like I'm just sitting with my electric guitar in my house at 11 o'clock at night, just barely playing and whispering notes, you know? And so then music is naturally kind of in that space, but
I'm very excited to hear it because, of course,
Thanks.
it's going to be different. You're like in a whole different chapter of your life. Like you said, you're like a parent.
yeah, it's 20 years later.
It's 20 years later. You're a parent. You're like, I mean, just even the experience you're talking about, like not having the ability to just like lock yourself in a room for 2 weeks, like how that's just going to inform like how differently you write and what's going to come from. Like we've talked before about sometimes the like magic that comes from restriction. So I'm really excited to hear what you come up with. Thank you for all your good stories and your good energy. Yeah. Thank you
Dave,
for coming on the show.
The best energy. Dave Tosti, my
thank
man.
you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you so
grateful.
much for being here.
Thank you guys. This is super fun. When are we doing the next one?
Yeah, I'll hit you up.
Yeah.
But next time I'm interviewing you guys.
Yes.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to hearing Dave's new stuff. Hopefully that's coming soon, and we will certainly post about it on our socials when it does. Be sure to check out our episodes with Aaron Marsh and Tommy Dumont for more about, let's say, the struggle of finding good music to listen to when your parents do not want you to listen to secular music. And actually, I believe Tommy, at least, might have referenced Pax217 in that conversation. So check out their episodes as well. We're going to post some photos of Pax217 from their heyday. They were really embodying that Y2K zeitgeist in a way that honestly just warms my heart so much. So anywho, you should follow Dave on Instagram, so when those new tunes roll out, you'll be the first to know. You can follow us on all the things as well, except Threads. We are not on Threads. All those links will be in the show notes per usual. And, y'all, we just appreciate you so much. We really enjoy our weekly parasocial hangouts with you. Thanks for sticking with us. And if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe, rate, and review. It only takes a second, and it helps us so much. And maybe tell a friend in real life. That works too. We love you guys. See you next time.